Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome to BBP. Now, I'm not real big on statistics, mostly because you never know if they're true. Unless you read them on the internet. Then you know you can trust what you're reading. But anyway, a friend of mine at church recently told me that only 8% of the people in a certain county here in Ohio go to church every week. 8%. And this got me to thinking that even if his statistic is remotely correct, those of us who call ourselves Christ followers are probably not taking the call on our lives seriously enough. The culture we live in today is making it more and more difficult to share our faith, but we cannot ignore our responsibility to point the way to Jesus. It's easy to forget, but God holds us responsible to share the good news of salvation to this lost and dying world. Listen to these words in Ezekiel chapter 3. Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel. Therefore, hear a word from my mouth and give them warning for me. When I say to the wicked, you shall surely die, and you give him no warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, that same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at your hand. Yet if you warn the wicked, and he does not turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your soul. Now this is a somber warning about the seriousness of our witness. And I can hear the objections already. Those words were spoken to a prophet, and prophets were held to a higher standard than the average Christian. God's not going to hold us responsible for lost people. Well, not so fast. Jesus tells us before he ascended into heaven, he's leaving us down here to share the gospel to all corners of the earth. The Apostle Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians that we are ambassadors for Christ as though God were pleading through us. The biblical truth here is that everyone who calls themselves a Christian has a responsibility to live a life worthy of the call. This means that people should see a difference in the way we live versus how the world conducts themselves. And we should be sharing with them how to find that same peace for their souls. He's going to hold all of us accountable for how we steward this responsibility. Now, it's true that once we are saved, our eternal destiny is secured. So I don't know that anyone can say what that accountability piece is going to look like. But do you really want to find that out? I don't. I'd rather just hear the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant," without having to make a trip to the principal's office for further discussion. It all comes down to two things: how much we love Jesus and how much we love people. And the closer we walk with Jesus, the more we understand that these two loves are inseparable. Unsaved, unchurched, unlovable, un-American. There's plenty of people out there that don't love us, but we are still called to love them and to point the way to Christ. Well, I hope this has given you something to consider and pray about. We'll see you right back here next week with another new video. And until then, you keep your eyes on Jesus and not on your troubles. Thank you.